The skies of Rigel 7th had never seen anything like it. Across the expanse of their radiant blue atmosphere dotted with streaks of neon green clouds, the arrival of the human warship, the HMS Retribution, broke millennia of peaceful solitude. To the inhabitants of Rigel the 7, 7-foot-tall creatures with translucent skin and luminescent eyes, the sight was nothing short of terrifying. Governor Xylan stood at the forefront of the observation deck of the High Council building, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and fascination. Around him, his advisors whispered anxieties and theories, each trying to make sense of the massive structure that now orbited their planet. "It's unlike anything we've encountered in our explorations," murmured Advisor Gyre, his voice a harmonic echo typical of their species. "Its size alone suggests it's a formidable force." The HMS Retribution was indeed a colossus, spanning nearly 5 kilometers from end to end, bristling with armaments that seemed almost excessive. The hull was a dark metallic gray, etched with scars of battles fought and won. It was the pride of the United Earth Fleet, sent as a vanguard to this newly discovered sector of the galaxy. On board the warship, Captain Elena Mirov was preparing her crew for the first contact procedures. A veteran of space conflicts and diplomatic missions alike, she understood the delicate balance required in these moments. "Remember, we are not here to provoke, but to protect," Captain Mirov instructed her crew, her voice stern yet calm over the intercom. "This is a reconnaissance mission. We gather information, we observe, and we show that Earth can be a friend or a formidable enemy." Back on Rigel 7, the appearance of the warship sparked a flurry of activity. The High Council convened an emergency session, broadcasting to their people to remain calm, assuring them that they were engaging in diplomatic talks with the human commanders. In the warship's communication room, Lieutenant Harrow worked swiftly to establish a line of communication with the alien planet. The translation algorithms, advanced as they were, struggled initially to decipher the melodious and complex language of the Rigelians. Finally, a crackled, synthesized voice filled the communication room. "This is Governor Xylan of Rigel 7. We greet you in peace and seek to understand your intentions." Captain Mirov stepped forward, her image transmitted across space to the Council's chambers. "Governor Xylan, I am Captain Elena Mirov of the HMS Retribution, representing the United Earth Federation. We come in peace and hope to establish friendly relations with your people." The response from the planet was cautious but curious. Governor Xylan, interpreting the human's reply through the translator, felt a cautious hope. "We welcome your peaceful approach and invite you to discuss terms of engagement and knowledge exchange." As the initial dialogues unfolded, stories and rumors spread across Rigel them like wildfire. The human's arrival was seen as the harbinger of a new era. Some feared it, while others were intrigued by the possibility of accessing the vast knowledge and technology that humanity could offer. Meanwhile, Captain Mirov prepared her delegation for the first face-to-face meeting. She selected her team with care, emphasizing the need for diplomacy and cultural sensitivity. As the HMS Retribution lowered its landing pods towards the surface, the people of Rigel the 7th watched the skies, their hearts pounding with anticipation and dread. What would this meeting bring? Peace and prosperity, or conflict and chaos? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain. The universe had just gotten a lot smaller, and the story of human and Rigelian interaction was just beginning. As the landing pods touched the verdant outskirts of Raxal Prime, the capital of Rigel the 7, a gathering crowd of Rigelians observed with silent awe. The pods, sleek and silver, opened slowly, revealing Captain Mirov and her delegation. Each member wore the standard deep blue uniform of the Earth Federation, their badges shimmering under the alien sun. Governor Xylan and his council approached, their movements graceful and fluid. The Rigelian's skin shimmered with a subtle glow, a sign of their nervous excitement. The Earth delegates adjusted their translators, readying themselves for the crucial first exchange. "Welcome to Rigel, then," Governor Xylan started, his voice harmonizing through the translator with an almost musical quality. "We have prepared a place for discussions at the council hall. Please follow us." As they walked through the winding streets of Raxal Prime, Captain Mirov noted the architecture, a blend of natural elements and advanced technology. Buildings with living walls of moss and vines stood beside structures of gleaming metal and glass, reflecting a society that harmoniously blended technology with nature. Inside the council hall, a room with a transparent dome allowed light to flood the space, casting colorful reflections. The Earth delegates and Rigelian leaders sat at a round table designed to remove any sense of hierarchy among them. "We understand your fleet is exploring this sector for potential threats and opportunities," said Gyre, one of the senior advisors, his eyes fixed on Captain Mirov. "That's correct," Mirov replied. "Our mission is to ensure the security of Earth's outer colonies and to establish diplomatic ties with civilizations we encounter. Your world is the first we've found in this sector that shows advanced intelligent life." The discussions moved on to technology exchange. The Rigelians were particularly interested in human advancements in space travel and energy production, while the humans were curious about Rigelian biotechnology and their mastery of ecological engineering. "The exchange of knowledge could benefit both our civilizations," Captain Mirov suggested. "We propose a partnership that allows us access to your biotechnologies in exchange for our energy systems." Governor Xylan nodded thoughtfully. "Such a partnership could indeed be prosperous. However, we must consider the implications for our society. The introduction of new technologies must be managed carefully." The meeting then shifted to a more delicate subject: military cooperation. The Rigelians were peaceful, but not naive. They understood the strategic advantage their location presented, nestled in a sector of space with several unexplored systems. "We seek assurance that your military presence will not become an occupation." Governor Xylan expressed his concerns, his tone still harmonious but firmer. "Let me be clear," Captain Mirov responded, her gaze steady. "Our presence here is not to conquer but to collaborate. We hope to establish a forward base for mutual benefit, one that will help protect your planet as well as our interests in this sector." As the day progressed, the two parties outlined the terms of a preliminary agreement. The talks concluded with a tour of a nearby Rigelian research facility, where human scientists were shown advancements in genetic engineering that allowed the Rigelians to adapt their flora and fauna to their needs. Leaving the facility, Captain Mirov felt a cautious optimism. The dialogues had been frank and productive, setting the stage for a deeper relationship. But as she looked back at the towering spires of Raxal Prime, she knew that the journey ahead would be filled with challenges and opportunities alike. The seeds of trust were planted, but they would need careful tending to flourish. The night had fallen on Raxal Prime, its twin moons casting a silvery light over the city, illuminating the streets with a ghostly glow. Captain Mirov, unable to sleep, wandered the hallways of the human embassy, her mind racing with the day's negotiations and the potential of what lay ahead. Meanwhile, back aboard the HMS Retribution, Lieutenant Harrow monitored transmissions and data streams, ensuring the warship stayed alert to any signs of hostility or unforeseen threats. The peace of the moment was a stark contrast to the storm of activity during the daylight hours. In the depths of the Rigelian council chambers, Governor Xylan convened a secret meeting with his closest advisors. The walls, thick with bioluminescent plants, emitted a soft light that set the room aglow with an ethereal ambiance. "We must be cautious," Advisor Gyre whispered. "The humans bring with them great knowledge, but also the power to dominate. We must not lose sight of our sovereignty." Governor Xylan nodded, his face illuminated by the soft luminescence. "Our agreement will include safeguards, ensuring that any military aid is strictly defensive. We must also insist on joint oversight of the forward base they propose." As discussions continued into the night, a different kind of meeting was taking place in a less formal setting. A small group of human scientists and Rigelian researchers gathered in a local dining hall, sharing meals and ideas with the enthusiasm of newfound peers. The atmosphere was light, filled with laughter and the clinking of glasses. Dr. Lena Briggs, the chief biologist of the HMS Retribution, exchanged notes with her Rigelian counterpart, Dr. Pelks. Your integration of genetic modification into agriculture is fascinating, she remarked, genuinely impressed. It could revolutionize how we approach food scarcity issues. Dr. Pelks, his eyes glowing slightly with pride, replied, "And your methods of quantum entanglement for communication could drastically reduce our data transmission times across planets." As the night progressed, alliances formed not just on paper but in the bonds between individuals, sharing a common goal of advancement and understanding. Back at the embassy, Captain Mirov received an unexpected message from the HMS Retribution. "Captain, we've detected an anomaly in the outer sector, a warp signature that doesn't match our databases." Lieutenant Harrow's voice was tense, alert. Mirov's fatigue was instantly replaced by alertness. "Keep monitoring the situation, Harrow. Alert me to any changes immediately." The signature suggested another spacefaring entity, unknown and potentially hostile, lurking near the boundaries of the Rigelian system. The implications were immediate and serious, presenting a potential threat that could undermine the budding trust between humans and Rigelians. In the quiet of his own quarters, Governor Xylan received a similar report from his security chief. The governor felt a chill run down his spine. This new development could not have come at a worse time. If it was indeed another alien force, the fragile alliance they were building with the humans might be their only defense. As both leaders considered their next steps, the stakes of their nascent alliance grew. It wasn't just about technology and trade anymore, but potentially about survival. If the new arrival proved hostile, Rigel VII might soon find itself relying on Earth's military might, and the HMS Retribution could be the key to their planet's defense. The promise of a peaceful collaboration was now shadowed by the prospect of having to defend it against unknown forces, testing the resilience of the trust that had just begun to bloom between two disparate worlds. In the early hours before dawn, Captain Mirov convened an emergency session with her senior officers in the war room of the HMS Retribution. The holographic displays flickered with images of the outer sector where the anomaly had been detected. "Analysis?" Mirov questioned sharply, her gaze fixed on the swirling mass of data projected above the table. "It's not just one, Captain. We've identified multiple warp signatures, all converging towards this system," reported Lieutenant Harrow, his fingers dancing across the control pad to enhance the visuals. "They're using a cloaking technology that's quite advanced, but we managed to isolate their trail from subspace ripples." The room was tense, the air filled with a mixture of concern and determination. "Options?" Mirov asked, turning to her tactical advisor, Commander Sen. "We could deploy probes for a closer look, set up a defensive perimeter, or initiate first contact protocols in case they're friendly," Sen suggested, each option weighed with military precision. Mirov considered this briefly. "Deploy the probes. Keep our profile low. Until we know more, we mustn't alarm the Rigelians or these newcomers." Meanwhile, on Rigel VII, Governor Xylan faced his own council, which was split between urging caution and preparing for potential conflict. "We must trust in the alliance we are forming with Earth," Xylan argued. "Their experience in interstellar conflicts could be decisive." Advisor Gyre, however, was less optimistic. "We must also prepare our own defenses. Our reliance on the humans should not leave us vulnerable." The debate was interrupted by an urgent communication from the human embassy. Captain Mirov appeared on the screen, her expression grave. "Governor Xylan, we've detected unknown entities approaching your system. We're investigating but recommend you initiate defensive protocols as a precaution." Xylan's response was measured, his voice steady despite the rising tension. "We will do so, Captain. We also extend an invitation to coordinate our defenses. This is a threat we should face together." Back on Earth's warship, as the probes darted through space toward the mysterious signatures, the crew of the HMS Retribution prepared for every possible scenario. The ship's weapon systems were brought to a standby mode, and all personnel were briefed on potential emergency procedures. The data from the probes soon streamed in, revealing a small fleet of sleek, dark vessels, their designs unlike anything documented in Earth's expansive databases of known alien technologies. "They're definitely not just passing by," Harrow noted, analyzing the trajectory of the approaching ships. "They're headed straight for Rigel VII." As both Earth and Rigel VII readied themselves, The unknown fleet slowed, halting just outside of the system's primary defense grid. Then, without any prior communication, they transmitted a simple, encoded message. Breaking the code took precious minutes, but when it came through, it was a request, not for conflict, but for parley. They wished to speak with representatives from both Rigel VII and Earth. Mirov relayed to Governor Xylan. With the potential crisis temporarily averted, but still simmering like a latent threat, preparations began for a meeting that would include 3 parties: the humans, the Rigelians, and these mysterious newcomers. This encounter, set against the backdrop of a tense interstellar standoff, would test the resilience of the newly formed Human-Rigelian Alliance and set the course for their collective response to a galaxy that was proving more complex and unpredictable by the moment. As the suns of Rigel VII rose, casting a dual shadow over the landscape, the designated meeting area was set under the ancient meeting groves, a site revered by Rigelians for diplomatic encounters. The area was shielded with the latest defensive technology, yet it retained the natural beauty revered by the Rigelians. Giant luminescent trees that provided both a calming atmosphere and a strategic vantage point. Captain Mirov, accompanied by a select team of her senior officers, met with Governor Xylan and his advisors at the edge of the grove. Their expressions were a blend of caution and curiosity as they awaited the arrival of the unknown visitors. The newcomers' ships, sleek and dark as void, touched down silently, their landing almost ghost-like. As their delegation disembarked, the Rigelians and humans observed the figures that emerged. Tall, with elongated limbs and covered in smooth metallic suits that reflected the morning light. The leader of the newcomers, who introduced himself simply as Envoy Kress, spoke in a clear, resonant voice that was immediately translated by the devices worn by all parties. "We are known as the Dvorians. Our home is not charted on your star maps, for we are a wandering people seeking alliances across the cosmos." Governor Xylan stepped forward, extending a traditional Rigelian greeting. "We welcome you in peace, as is our way. What brings you to Rigel VII?" Envoy Kress's eyes, visible through a translucent visor, seemed to appraise the assembly before responding. "Our path is guided by the search for knowledge and resources. We are explorers, but we find ourselves in need due to a calamity that struck our fleet. We seek assistance and perhaps partners in our survival." Mirov, assessing the Dvorian's demeanor and words, intervened. "You speak of partnership, but your arrival was cloaked in secrecy and potential threat. Trust is fundamental in any alliance." Kress nodded, a gesture they had seemingly adopted from human interaction. "Understood, Captain Mirov. Caution often dictates our approach, as the cosmos are rife with dangers. Yet here we are, extending our hand in openness now." The discussions unfolded with meticulous care. The Dvorians detailed their plight, describing a cosmic storm that had severely damaged their fleet, leaving them stranded and vulnerable. They offered in exchange for aid a wealth of knowledge about the uncharted sectors of the galaxy, including star maps and technology that could benefit both Earth and Rigel VII. Dr. Briggs, intrigued, sought clarity. "Your knowledge could indeed be invaluable. What specific technologies are you willing to share?" "We possess advancements in energy harnessing and propulsion unlike those in your current scope," answered Kress, signaling to an aide who presented devices displaying their system's schematics. As the meeting continued, the Earth and Rigelian representatives conferred privately. "They have much to offer," Mirov whispered to Xylan and his team. "But we must proceed with caution, verifying their claims and ensuring that their need does not turn into dependency or dominance over Rigel VII." Xylan agreed, his voice low. "Their arrival and technology could shift the power balance in this sector. We should consider a phased approach to any alliance, starting with humanitarian aid under strict oversight." The proposal was brought back to the Dvorians, who agreed to the terms tentatively, their situation leaving them little room to negotiate. As the meeting adjourned, the parties agreed to a temporary aid arrangement, with plans for further discussions to solidify a more permanent alliance. As the delegations departed the grove, the air was thick, not just with the mist of the morning, but with the possibilities of what this new relationship could bring. The Dvorians' ships, once a looming threat, now stood as a testament to the potential for unity in the face of adversity, sparking a cautious optimism among all parties involved. As the temporary aid arrangements took effect, the HMS Retribution and Rigel VII's own vessels coordinated their efforts to deliver critical supplies and technical assistance to the Dvorians' crippled fleet. This operation, closely monitored by both Earth and Rigelian forces, served as a litmus test for the trustworthiness and intentions of the newcomers. Captain Mirov personally oversaw the supply runs, ensuring that each transfer was logged and transparent. The Dvorians, for their part, reciprocated with openness, providing guided tours of their vessels and detailed explanations of the technology, much of which was advanced beyond current human understanding. Back on Rigel VII, the Planetary Council convened to discuss the broader implications of their new interstellar relationship. "We must consider the long term," Governor Xylan stressed to his advisors. "The Dvorians bring knowledge that could elevate our society, but we must ensure our independence is safeguarded." The Council agreed to establish a joint scientific venture with the Dvorians, involving shared research facilities both in orbit around Rigel VII and on the planet's surface. The Earth-Rigel Alliance would have oversight, ensuring that all technological exchanges were equitable and secure. Meanwhile, Dr. Briggs and her team worked alongside Dvorian scientists, delving into the intricacies of their energy harnessing technology. "Their understanding of quantum flux is revolutionary," Dr. Briggs reported to Captain Mirov during a briefing, "but they're holding back on some aspects. There's more they're not sharing yet." Mirov nodded, her thoughts mirroring the doctor's suspicions. "Keep pushing for more transparency. We need to fully understand their capabilities and motivations." As the weeks passed, the initial wariness gave way to a cautious collaboration. Joint missions to repair Dvorian ships provided insights into their engineering marvels, and in return, human and Rigelian technologies began subtle integration into Dvorian systems. However, the peace was abruptly tested when a rogue faction within the Dvorian ranks attempted a coup, aiming to seize the advanced technologies and abandon the fledgling alliance. The plot was uncovered due to the vigilance of the joint security teams, leading to a tense standoff aboard one of the largest Dvorian vessels. Captain Mirov, alongside Envoy Kress and Governor Xylan, addressed the crisis directly, boarding the ship to negotiate with the insurgents. "Your actions could end the aid and alliance we're building," Mirov warned the faction's leader, her demeanor unyielding. "Consider the consequences." Envoy Kress appealed to his people's sense of survival. "Isolation has brought us to the brink of extinction once. Do not force us down that path again." The standoff ended peacefully, with the insurgents standing down, swayed by Kress's words and the visible show of unity between humans and Rigelians. The incident solidified the tripartite alliance, as all parties recognized the fragile but invaluable nature of their cooperation. As the alliance solidified, the final agreements were drafted. The Dvorians would become a protectorate under the joint stewardship of Earth and Rigel VII, with their technology slowly integrated and their fleet rebuilt under strict guidelines. In return, the Dvorians provided access to unexplored sectors of space and shared their knowledge of cosmic phenomena, invaluable for future explorations. Captain Mirov stood on the bridge of the HMS Retribution, watching the stars beyond. The challenges they had faced were formidable, but the rewards, new alliances, technologies, and a stabilizing presence in a volatile sector, were a testament to the strength and potential of unity and diversity. As the ships of three civilizations maneuvered through space, the cosmos seemed a little less vast, a testament to the power of collaboration across the stars. The partnership was not just a means of survival, but a beacon of hope for a future where different peoples could come together for the greater good.